They say the mountains test you. On day 5, the sun tested my skin, the trail tested my legs, and the heat tested, well, everything else.
That was tough.
I hiked through silent forests, up endless climbs, and over a pass that led me to a lake so blue it stopped me in my tracks. But this day I had a different kind of challenge, not just physical, but mental. I was running on empty. Would the views carry me through, or will the sun win? After yesterday's 26-kilometer thunder-fueled epic, I woke up with legs that felt like overcooked spaghetti. But the only way forward on the Alta Via 1 is forward. So I dragged myself out of bed, laced up my trail-worn shoes and hit the trail once more.
Alright, day 5 of the Alta Via 1. Not as long as yesterday, about 17 kilometers today. So hopefully we'll survive. Tomorrow and the day after will be a bit shorter, so that's nice. Today making my way to Rifugio Vazzoler, and this Rifugio was quite nice. They've kitted out quite nicely, so a lot of stuff inside to buy, sunscreen, t-shirts, everything. So and a nice laundry stop as well. And if you're a bit earlier, you can also do a bit of a hot tub and wellness center. So real worth it. It's on the road, but still a very nice view of the mountains. Yeah, let's get started.
The morning started quietly. A peaceful forest path, filled with tall trees and soft light. It was shady, serene, and suspiciously flat. A nice reprieve, but let's be honest, we all know what that means. A climb was coming, but before that, I soaked up the cool morning air and the quiet. No sweeping views just yet, but sometimes the trail gives you that space just to reset. And after day 4, I needed that. A little while later, I popped out at Rifugio Palafavera, conveniently right next to a road. And look, when you see civilization and ice-cold drinks in the mountains, you have to stop. Yes, I had a Coke, and no, this wouldn't be my last one for the day. This was one of those hydrate or overheat dramatically kind of mornings. Palafavera is more of a pit stop than a mountain haven, right next to the road, easy to access and perfect for grabbing a drink just before the climb. With a Coke in my belly and the heat on my back, I left Palafavera and immediately regretted not freezing myself overnight. The trail turned into a long, exposed gravel road, a 650-meter uphill. No trees, no shade, no mercy. At first, it was kind of manageable, wide and steady, but as I climbed, it narrowed into a single track. And just when my legs started reminding me of yesterday's 26 kilometers, the incline said, "Hey, remember me?" But slowly, step by sweaty step, the views began to shift and saw a tiny cluster of buildings perched high on a ridge. Rifugio Coldai, my lunch stop, my salvation.
That was tough. Never been so happy to see the Rifugio. Lunchtime.
Yes, I spotted it. Rifugio Coldai, perched high on a ridge at 2,132 meters. A remote scenic gem, and most importantly, I had sandwiches, water and shade. By the time I reached Rifugio Coldai, my legs were somewhere between spaghetti and please call a helicopter. It was around 11:30 am, the sun was relentless and I was desperate for a break. Rifugio itself, absolutely worth the climb. Perched high above the valley with views that make you forget how sweaty you are, just for a second. They do accept card here, which is a blessing, because at this point I'd trade a kidney for hydration. I took refuge inside from the wind and the blazing sun. While I was there, I saw a lot of day hikers packing up takeaway lunches. I didn't get it at the time, but about 20 minutes later, I understood.
Well, that Rifugio was a much needed stop after a brutal climb in the heat. It was nice and quiet in the beginning for 20 minutes. And now just before 12 it gets very busy. So try to time it if you can. But it's getting to peak now. Alright, let's carry on.
I reached the crest of the pass, looked down, and there it was. Lago Coldai, one of the most beautiful alpine lakes I've ever seen. Bright blue, framed by rugged cliffs, like something out of a fantasy film. And that's why people were taking their lunches to go, because this was the place to sit, eat and soak in the magic. I had to stop. Not stopping here felt like a crime against nature. So I dropped my pack, found a flat rock and sat in silence, just me, the lake, and about 100 other tourists scattered around the lake. So, pro tip, grab your lunch to go from Rifugio Coldai and eat it at Lago Coldai. It's one of the best lunch views on the entire Alta Via one. Leaving the lake behind, I followed the trail as it snaked across the rocky terrain. This part of the hike felt like something out of a movie. Snow patches crunched underfoot, narrow pathways hugging mountain walls, and the Dolomites towering dramatically on either side. The views were just next level. Every corner I turned revealed something even more ridiculous than the last. But let's not romanticize it too much. My legs were toast. The uphill grind from earlier was catching up to me fast, and I was now in that weird state of tired where you start talking to your trekking poles for moral support. The trail was mostly gentle with a few sneaky uphill stings, but the views made up for every single groan. In the distance I could see the valleys below and mountain villages tucked away like dollhouses. The exposure to the sun was still real though. No cover out here, just you, the heat, and your dwindling supplies of gummy bears.
Feeling a bit tired today. Climb after climb. What's this, day 5? Yeah, no, it's a lot of elevation today. A bit tired after yesterday's long day. Hopefully less than 2 hours. That'll be done for the day. I wonder how many more uphills there are. Let's do this. And there we go. Day 5 of Alta Via 1 done. Up ahead is Rifugio Vazzoler. It was a good 17 kilometers today. Very warm again. But no rain, no thunder this time around, so that's a blessing. And for this Rifugio you have to pay separate for a shower, which I'll do gladly, an extra €3. And apparently they only accept cash. So if you want to come to this one, remember your cash, but it's in the emails as well. So yeah, another beautiful day surrounded by mountains, First bit was a bit of a slog, but yeah, second half of the day was beautiful. But yeah, thirsty. Need an ice cold drink again. So tomorrow will be a bit shorter, around 11 kilometers. And someone special might be joining me, so stay tuned for that.
Eventually, after weaving between boulders and descending through sparse forests, I caught the first glimpse of Rifugio Vazzoler, tucked away in the trees like a secret mountain hideout. It felt remote, quiet, almost sacred. No roads, no cars, no gondolas, just hikers who had earned their stay. The final stretch was mercifully flat, and as I stepped into the courtyard, I could finally let my tired legs know it was over. For today at least. The Rifugio itself had a rustic charm, with jaw-dropping views of jagged peaks right from the front steps. The kind of place where even your sweat feels poetic. I grabbed a cold drink, well, lukewarm, they didn't have ice, due to limited water supply. Took a seat and just exhaled. Facilities were basic, but charming. No card payments, so bring cash. Hot showers? Yes, if you can buy a token. Ice in your drinks? No, water is limited here. The meal was fine, not the best I've had on the trail, but hey, meatballs are meatballs, and dessert is sacred, especially when it's your first tiramisu in Italy. I ended that evening outside, chatting with some fellow hikers, swapping trail stories, while the sun slowly dipped behind the peaks. Now, just a heads up, a lot of people choose to hike a bit further to Rifugio Staulanza, perched dramatically above the Coldai lake. It's said to offer some of the best panoramic views on the entire Alta Via one, especially at sunset. But here's the catch, it comes with an extra uphill climb. The trail forks towards Rifugio Staulanza just after descending from Lago Coldai, before heading down into the forest section. Taking this fork will add about 200 meters of elevation and about an hour worth of hiking. For me, Rifugio Vazzoler felt just right, more remote, peaceful, and with views that were honestly hard to beat. I sat outside at Rifugio Vazzoler, sweaty, sore, but deeply content. Today pushed me hard, the relentless sun, the steep climbs, the tired legs still carrying yesterday's storm, but somehow every uphill led to a view that made it worth it. And this place, Vazzoler, is magic. Quiet, remote, no signal, just mountain air and stars above. The body was broken, but the spirit, alive and kicking. And tomorrow, something special. A reunion that's been a long time coming. But that's a story for day 6. If you ever questioned your life choices mid-hike with a soggy sandwich and burning calves, congratulations, you're kindred spirits. Smash that like button to send sympathy to my knees. And maybe share your toughest hiking day in the comments. I read every one. And if you're enjoying this journey through the Dolomites, subscribe and join me for day 6. Until next time, keep exploring.